Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up your adventure hats. We're going to go on a wild ride through the world of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, the upcoming Indiana Jones movie that is long awaited, but cautiously observed from afar from a lot of people. With everything that Disney and Lucasfilm have basically been up to in the past decade with like Marvel and Star Wars and other beloved properties, I think it's safe to say that fans of Indiana Jones are not exactly thrilled about another movie coming up in this series. Let's face it, the reception for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was pretty controversial to say the least. People back then were already wary about another Indiana Jones movie, and then when the news hit that George Lucas wasn't going to be involved in any way, it set up a little bit of a red flag. And then Steven Spielberg was attached to the project for several years, decided to back out as well. So no Spielberg, no Lucas. It was like, okay, we're out. Well, it was like a scene straight out of Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Where like the Ark of the Covenant's opening and a whole bunch of bad things just happened. This movie, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, was like, oh, I don't even know where to begin. It didn't happen. Let's just say it's not canon, right? Well, let's fast forward to this year, and we got some news. Disney dropped a lot of gems yesterday, and they revealed their eye-watering budget, according to this. So Walt Disney Company, I feel, is essentially setting themselves for failure because the expectations for this, especially with the budget that they just revealed with yesterday's information and the quarter one call and all that, I don't think it's going to be met. I honestly do not think it's going to be met. We're going to touch on this subject a little bit. We're getting closer and closer. I think, first of all, Dial Destiny is the worst fucking name at all. But the big news is the full budget has been revealed, and it is a whopping $294.7 million, which is basically round it to $300 million. It's one of the most expensive films ever made. Surpasses the budget of Star Wars movies like Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, and Solo. So the last four movies that Disney has made for the Star Wars saga, this is a higher budget. All right. If we're gonna even put it into more perspective, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the last Indiana Jones movie, had a budget of $185 million. So this is double of that. All right. So I feel that they are setting up for failure. But let's go ahead and take a look at this article, give our thoughts. I'm kind of hesitant about this. You can see this right here. It does go on and say that it had a budget of $185 million, but it ranked in nearly $800 million at the box office for Crystal Skull. So despite Crystal Skull being called one of the worst movies of all time, the worst Indiana Jones, it still made a profit. $185 million, that was the budget, raked in $800 million. This was back like what? Shoot, was that 05? 04? That was quite some time, almost like 20 years ago since then. Now, this one will be the first in the franchise to not be helmed by Spielberg, who respectively directed and co-wrote all four of the previous films. But it does see Harrison Ford as the big return. I think this is supposed to be like the send-off, right? Man, Harrison, don't let Indiana Jones go out like this. Do not let Indiana Jones go out like this, to be honest. So the bar has been set pretty high for Dial of Destiny. It already has a terrible name. It already has a super high budget. But I think it's going to be a very tall task considering the negativity that's been around Lucasfilm and Disney and just overall like everything about woke Disney at this time. I mean, think about the ballooning budgets. Like Disney's been spending a lot of money. They just revealed that they've lost a lot of subscribers from Disney Plus. They've laid off like 7,000 employees. Now they have this budget, this big ass movie that they're trying to rely to make their money back, and this comes after other budgets have been like abnormal. Like let's take example for some of these Marvel movies, and this touches base on that. As my fucking website plays some music, Jesus Christ, fucking ads with music, do not like that. um, if you think about everything that has gone on with Disney as of late, and all the huge super budgets, like we just had like Wakanda Forever that came out, Thor: Love and Thunder. On top of that, Indiana Jones has been in production longer than those movies were. Those movies entered production and came out in theaters before Indiana Jones 5 even came out. And Indiana Jones has been in production longer. So there's a lot of production costs, multiple writers, delays in filming. Apparently, there's also going to be a lot of CGI. They're going to be doing de-aging for Harrison Ford. So I can't imagine that de-aging Harrison Ford for an entire movie will be exactly cheap. So yeah, this movie I think needs to make somewhere around $800 million just for even them to even think about sniffing a profit at all. And I think that's impossible. $800 million for an Indiana Jones movie from Disney. They gotta market this hardcore. Like, Harrison Ford's probably gonna have to step up and market it. And to be honest, I don't even think it could happen because it is Disney, and I don't think Disney's kind of been bombing as of late. And on top of that, I think genuinely the hype for Indiana Jones as a character, I don't think anybody that's not from the anybody that was born after 95, I don't think gives a shit about Indiana Jones. I don't think anybody's eagerly waiting for this. I keep forgetting that it's coming out. And then there's no George Lucas, there's no Spielberg. I think it's going to be the latest flop in a series of financial failures from Disney, unfortunately. It's I don't think it's going to do good. If it does good, I'll be extremely happy. But I don't think this is going to be the send-off. I think if it doesn't make $800 million at all, it's going to be considered a flop, and that's ridiculous. Like, movies are just becoming more and more expensive. But maybe we could hope for the best, and, this movie might surprise us all. What do you guys think? Is this dead on arrival with all the troubles that Disney's going through, or all the controversies that Disney does? I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana Jones turns out to be part of the LGBTQ or some kind of woke agenda in it. But yeah, terrible name, too high of a budget, production hell. I don't think this is going to go well. Let me know your thoughts down below.